This is hands down the best way to get structured, valuable content about YouTube for free. In this video, we are going to be reviewing two masterclasses side by side. One is from the YouTube channel Tips with Trena, and the other is from the YouTube channel Ashnichrist. Both of these YouTubers have roughly about 30,000 subscribers, and they have years of experience producing content on the platform that are geared towards either helping you grow your YouTube channel or helping you grow your Twitch stream. Either way, they both talk about content creation on various platforms and how to grow your influence and build a profitable business or find profitable ways to monetize your content on these social media platforms. So let's talk about Tips with Trena and her YouTube Masterclass. So her class is roughly about 1.5 hours long. The main content is about an hour. The rest of it would be the introduction of herself, the interaction portions within the masterclass, and of course the upsell. So I would say the content itself is about an hour, and it is very valuable, by the way. At the beginning of her class, she goes into 3 things that you will take away from the YouTube Masterclass, and she also prefaces it by saying that this is actually one of the few masterclasses that you would actually learn something, and it wouldn't just be a bunch of generic advice that will ultimately lead you into an upsell of a course, right? And she also is very clear that there will be an upsell of a course at the end, so that you don't feel that you are, kind of conned into wasting your time listening to generic advice and everything is being hidden behind a payment wall to a course, right? So that's one of the things off the bat that I think is very genuine and authentic, that she actually wants you to learn wherever you are financially if you're not able to purchase her course at this time, because she only opens it, I believe, once a year. Right, so she went through various topics and she gave you great little bite-sized information that you could use in your content strategy. So she went through 3 things that YouTube considers the most in terms of video promotion. Then she also went through basic video equipment that you would need to get started. She demystifies 3 lies about YouTube that we, as the majority of new content creators starting out, tend to believe. She also touches on the different social media platforms and uses statistics on which social media platform actually has the most amount of staying power or time that the post lives on the platform, and that will kind of actually surprise you in terms of Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Then she goes into how to structure your videos in terms of having a hook, then an intro, then your content, and then your call to action. And she gives a brief overview of what these 4 things should do and what it should look like, and she even gives an example. And she also goes into what I think is her staple, which is repurposing content, and how it is you would move from a long form content format, which would be either YouTube or blogging, but she has YouTube at the beginning, and then you repurpose that same content across all the platforms. That way you are minimizing the amount of time that it takes to be creating content natively for each individual platform, while still staying consistent and having a presence everywhere because as much as we would like to think that everybody lives on YouTube, that is not the case. A lot of people either just want to consume their content on Facebook only or on Instagram only, or they may want to tune in to a longer YouTube video, or they might just want to read a blog post, or they probably just want to scroll on Twitter or scroll on Pinterest. So in terms of that, I think that her video strategy academy course is built heavily on that, with YouTube at the forefront, and then repurposing your same YouTube video across all the other platforms, which I think is a beautiful strategy and something that is worth either figuring out for yourself, because the way that she lays it out, she basically gives you the bare bones guide to what I believe the majority of her course is. So if you are able to fill in the blanks yourself, you can definitely find value here, so that you have like at least a guide or a roadmap as to how to proceed with YouTube. And of course, if you want more in-depth training and more hand-holding, then you can invest in her course. But I believe I got a lot of value out of her course, and it is structured as though it was a course in itself. At least I think that, because we got a printable worksheet that we could have filled in the blanks and have something physical that we could have taken away at the end of the masterclass, and also get you involved and being active and doing something, because most of the times we just want to ingest the information and then not do anything with it. Now, with Ashnichrist YouTube free training, I would like to term it, because it's definitely a bit more than a masterclass in terms of the length. She would have had probably 3 masterclasses into one. So she had 3 trainings. The first one was on finding your niche. She had about 7 questions to help you narrow down what your niche could possibly be. And also she had this, it was like kind of like a diagram that looks like a family tree. She called it DEW, which stands for depth, expanse, and width. And it's really for you to delve into whether the niche that you picked, if it has depth, if it has expanse, and if it has width. And she went into explaining all these things so that you could fill out the worksheet that she had for each training. So each training had a worksheet, which again is very valuable, because this is something you could use, some of them repeatedly and some of them probably just once, but it's still very valuable. When you have something like a worksheet, it gets you involved, it gets you active, and then it helps you to remember, and it also helps you to make progress into doing something and not just ingesting the information. A second training was on a YouTube schedule, which focused heavily on time management, which she said was the best solution to avoiding creator burnout. And she went through the cycle of burnout and explained it just briefly, and also showed us, okay, this would be the real solution, instead of just trying to take a vacation and then come back to the work. The work will always be there, the work didn't change, it's actually you that has to change. So she touched on that, and she gave us a worksheet that has like a calendar format to do time blocking, so that you could have your YouTube content creation fitting into your busy schedule, whether you were working full-time or streaming full-time, because her content is geared towards streamers, but it could also be applicable to other people, because streaming takes up a lot of time. So it's also synonymous with either having children or working from home or having a regular day job. So I found that very applicable, because not a lot of people actually talk about this and give you like something tangible to have a solution to this problem. So I thought that it was really good. And her third training was on editing and how to edit within 2 hours and not to be spending a lot of time editing, especially if you are now starting out YouTube. And where you need to focus on, the beginning of a video and have a lot of heavy editing there, and then gradually you could tune it down as you come down to the end, as people gradually drop off from your video regardless, right? And she had an experienced editor come on for about 2 hours and show us step by step how he edits using DaVinci Resolve, and it was very insightful. Even though I don't use that software, I could still apply the same sort of tactics with the software that I am currently using, which is iMovie. And there is also a worksheet for that in terms of structuring your content with the hook and then the value and the conversion. So it helps structure each video that you're about to produce so that you could have it streamlined and you will be as time efficient as you possibly can. So how do they match up and weigh out against one another? I think that both of them have tremendous value. I would say that simply because Ashni has more time, is about 5 hours worth of content versus 1 hour worth of content, and simply because of that, her free trainings are going to have more value because it has more time and it's actually giving you information. But I would say both of them have printouts and worksheets that you could use and put these things into action within your YouTube channel, and that way they both give you something that you could physically take away, and that's very valuable. Most of these webinars are a bit, I've heard, because I've now started watching webinars, some of them that I have seen in the past usually either rushes through the content or just gives you a lot of hypotheticals or examples and motivational crap sprinkled on throughout, and it's usually just a big sales pitch. So these are definitely not that. You definitely learn. I would say that Ashni is probably the winner of this matchup, but it doesn't mean that you can't get good value from Trena. So I will link both of their trainings or videos below. For Ashni, I believe you'll have to join her Discord in order to get her free trainings on YouTube, and I will link the video webinar to Trena's masterclass. To find out where else you can get some really good information about YouTube for free, click here, and I'll see you in the next video.